The lion waited 10 years for him. What happened will break you. The dense, green forest stretched endlessly before David, its towering trees standing like silent sentinels. His wheelchair's wheels hummed softly as he rolled down the familiar path, the earth beneath him warm from the afternoon sun. He could still smell the distinct scent of pine and damp earth that had always brought him a sense of peace. Even now, with his life forever changed, the forest was still his sanctuary. David had once been a park ranger, a protector of the wild. He had spent years patrolling the forests, studying the animals, and ensuring the balance of nature was maintained. Every day had been an adventure, filled with the promise of new discoveries and the thrill of being part of something bigger than himself. He had always prided himself on his physical strength, his ability to move through the forest with ease, to track animals and navigate the rugged terrain without hesitation. But that all changed one fateful day. It was a crisp autumn morning when David's life was irrevocably altered. A reckless driver, speeding down the highway, lost control of his vehicle, crashing into David as he was crossing the road to begin his daily patrol. The impact was brutal, and David was thrown several feet before hitting the ground. He woke up in a hospital bed, pain throbbing in his body, his legs lifeless and unresponsive. The doctors told him the damage was irreversible. His spinal cord had been severely damaged, and he would never walk again. The physical pain of the accident was nothing compared to the emotional devastation. David's heart fell hollow as he realized that his life, the one he had known for so long, was over. He would never run through the forest again, never feel the rush of wind against his face as he sprinted to the aid of an injured animal. The thought of being confined to a wheelchair, unable to move freely, felt like a cruel punishment. It was as if the forest had turned its back on him, the very place that had once been his home. But amidst his grief, David made a decision. He would not allow the accident to define him. His body might be broken, but his spirit was not. He moved to a small cottage on the outskirts of the forest, away from the bustling city that reminded him of everything he had lost. His days were spent in solitude, rolling through the familiar paths, visiting the spots where he had once worked. But one memory refused to leave him, one promise that weighed heavily on his heart. 10 years ago, while on a routine patrol, David had encountered a lion, a majestic, powerful creature. It had been injured, its side bloodied from a fight with another predator. David, without hesitation, had tended to the lion's wound, using the first aid kit he always carried with him. As he worked, the lion watched him, its piercing eyes never leaving David's face. There was something in those eyes, something that connected them in a way David couldn't explain. It wasn't just a man and an animal. It felt like a bond that transcended species. And before David left, he had made a promise to the lion. "I will protect you, no matter what." But now, 10 years later, David wondered if he had failed that promise. How could he protect the lion when he couldn't even protect himself? How could he ensure the safety of the animals in the forest when he was no longer able to run to their aid? The thought gnawed at him, and so, every day, without fail, David rolled his wheelchair down the same paths, hoping to see the lion again, hoping to make things right. He knew the lion might have moved on. Perhaps it had found another protector, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the lion was still out there, waiting. He had to find it. He had to see if the promise he had made still held any weight. He had to know if the lion remembered him. One late afternoon, as the golden light of the setting sun bathed the forest in a warm glow, David rolled his wheelchair to the edge of a clearing, the place where he had first met the lion. The trees around him rustled gently in the breeze, and he paused, breathing in the familiar scent of pine and earth. For a moment, he thought he heard something, a rustle, a soft growl. He turned his head, his heart racing, and then he saw it. Through the trees, emerging from the shadows, came the lion. It was massive, its golden mane now streaked with silver, its body strong and imposing. Its eyes locked onto David, and for a long moment, neither moved. The lion stood there, watching him as if assessing whether this was truly the man it had encountered all those years ago. David's breath caught in his throat. The lion had waited for him. It had stayed. David's hands trembled as he gripped the arms of his wheelchair. The years of longing, the years of uncertainty, all of it came crashing down in that one moment. The lion was here. It had remembered him. The bond they had shared, that promise made, had not been broken. It was still there, unspoken but undeniable. The lion moved forward, slowly at first, its powerful muscles rippling with each step. As it approached, David felt a rush of emotions: joy, relief, gratitude, and something deeper, something almost sacred. The lion stopped just a few feet away from him, lowering its head slightly, as if acknowledging the man who had once saved it. David reached out with trembling hands, his heart pounding in his chest. For a moment, he simply touched the lion's fur, the warmth of the animal's body grounding him in the reality of the moment. The lion nudged David's wheelchair with its nose, a gentle gesture that seemed almost affectionate. It was as if it was saying, "You're still my protector. You're still with me." Tears welled up in David's eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of release, of healing. The lion had waited for him, not just to keep a promise, but to remind him of his own strength. It wasn't the strength of his legs, the physical power he had once possessed. It was the strength of his heart, the unwavering courage that had always defined him, even in the face of his greatest challenges. David didn't need to walk to be a protector. He didn't need to run through the forest to make a difference. He had found a new purpose, a new strength, and the lion had come to show him that. As the lion turned and began to walk away, it glanced back once more, its eyes filled with a silent understanding. David watched as the lion disappeared into the trees, its silhouette blending into the fading light of the day. For the first time in 10 years, David didn't feel broken. He felt whole, in a way he hadn't in a long time. He had kept his promise to the lion, and in return, the lion had shown him that true strength wasn't about physical ability. It was about the courage to face life, no matter the obstacles, no matter the limitations. David rolled his wheelchair back down the path, a sense of peace settling over him. The lion had waited for him, not to remind him of what he had lost, but to show him what he still had. And that was enough. He didn't need to walk to be a warrior. He was already one. If David's story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Remember, strength isn't always measured by physical ability. It's found in the courage to keep going, no matter the challenges. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that their journey isn't over. And if you're facing your own struggles, let David's resilience inspire you to rise above them. Keep moving forward, because your story is still being written.